Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Garfinkel. Today we are holding a public hearing concerning proposed rules by the Procurement Policy Board. Will now come to order. The hearing today will provide the public an opportunity to comment on 4 proposed amendments to Chapters 1 and 3 of Title 9 of the Rules of the City of New York, entitled the Procurement Policy Board Rules. The Procurement Policy Board wants to be sure that anyone who wishes to be heard has an opportunity to do so. I will be reading each item individually, and will ask after reading an individual item if anyone wishes to testify in regard to that item. All persons who wish to speak must fill out a request slip, which was passed around earlier. And if you have not previously handed it to me, when you do plan to speak, please bring up a copy, and Angie has extra copies. When you testify, please first state your name and affiliation, if any. You may also submit written testimony to me, which will be made part of the record. Any written submissions must be given to me before the close of the public hearing today. So for the first item today, the PPB has proposed to amend Chapter 1 of Title 9 of the Rules of the City of New York to revise the definition of MWBE and add a new definition of state-certified MWBE. Does anyone wish to testify? Thank you. Item number 2. The PPB has proposed to amend Chapter 2 of Title 9 of the Rules of the City of New York to apply the best value competitive sealed bid price preference mechanism to city and state certified MWBEs and allow adjustment to the price preference with approval of the citywide chief procurement officer, also known as the CHIPO. Does anyone wish to testify on this item?
Is that the 5% change?
No, this is purely competitive sealed bids. Thank you. Item number 3. The PPB has proposed to amend Chapter 3 of Title 9 of the Rules of the City of New York to apply the best value competitive sealed proposal quantitative preferences to both city and state certified MWBEs and mandates its usage for professional and construction-related consulting services. Additionally, this amendment allows adjustment of the quantitative preference with CHIPO approval. I will pull out those who have handed in request sheets that specify they wish to testify on this rule specifically. First person to speak on this is Peter Chuneth, Senior Vice President of CMA.
No, I wasn't going to testify. Did I check that?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm not going to.
Okay. Ken Fisher of the Municipal Affairs Council.
Good afternoon, and just for clarity of the record, my name is Ken Fisher from the law firm of Cozen O'Connor. I represent the American Council of Engineering Companies of New York in opposition to the proposed amendment with respect to the 5% technical rating increase for certified firms, which we believe would be contrary to quality-based selection system that has served the City of New York well for the last 10 years. I'm going to summarize the written testimony, and we have comments for you that elaborates on the points that I'm about to make. First of all, ACEC believes that this proposal is premature at best, and at worst lacks a sound factual basis, is poor public policy, and is contrary to the best interests of the City of New York, which has used QBS successfully for the last 10 years after a demonstration project conducted by the Mayor's Office of Contract Services found that it increased participation and therefore competition, particularly among firms that had not done business with the City of New York before under the previous price per technical point system, and that it encouraged design excellence. Unfortunately, this initiative, however well-meaning it may be, does the opposite. Note that it was not on the PPB's regulatory agenda, as would otherwise be the case under CAPA and the Charter. We also note that it was not discussed with any of the stakeholders who are affected with respect to construction-related design services, which is our specific focus. What was on the public policy agenda this year was the city's disparity study, long in the making, which did not contain a single word suggesting that there was bias in the technical evaluation of construction-related services, nor that that was something that needed to be adjusted or remedied. It was not discussed in any of the public hearings, certainly not the ones that I attended, of the Council Contracts Committee, which considered the disparity report and then adopted Local Law 174 to adjust the goals that the city has been using to encourage diversity in procurement. We don't have a study that indicates this. There's been no, at least public explanation as to why this is an appropriate remedy. And we believe that it'll have unintended consequences, and I'm going to share with you just two. One is that potentially for large contracts where there are a very small number of certified firms, you can have one or more of that small number of firms win multiple RFPs because of receiving a technical point difference, even if the reason that their proposal was not ranked first in the first place was because of a lack of managerial capacity, which is often one of the criteria for the very largest jobs. The other example, that I think these are the kinds of things that normally would get talked out with the industry in advance, is that if a certified firm was the 51% stakeholder and leader of a newly formed joint venture entity, that entity would not be able to receive the 5% bonus because it itself was not going to be a certified firm and would have to go through a process that would be impossible to complete during the typical RFP process. That means that the only way that majority and minority firm could collaborate would be for the majority firm to be a subcontractor, which may be a perfectly appropriate solution in some cases, but I don't believe that that was the intention to mandate that outcome by writing the rule in the manner in which you did. So given the fact that we don't believe this proposal has been fully vetted, but at the very least we think that you should defer voting on it, but we also think that it's misplaced. Quality-based selection is used by 44 states, the federal government, the state of New York, and the city of New York adopted it 10 years ago because it got a better result. Design excellence, the best thinking from the best teams available to the city of New York. This would undercut that. We think that that's a mistake as a matter of public policy, and we think that the board should reconsider this amendment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No questions. If you could leave a copy of your written testimony or comments on the table, it'd be appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, should I? Just one thing I forgot to mention. ACEC, for those who are not familiar with it, is the Trade Association of Professional Engineering Companies. 25% of ACEC's members are certified New York City MWBE firms. They strongly support the increase in diversity in the contracting process, not this way.
Sarah Hetmati of RK Software.
Okay,
I'm sorry if I mispronounced names.
that's okay. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Sarah Hetmati from RK Software, and that's a really tough act to follow. But I represent a minority-owned business enterprise in New York, and I just wanted to add my voice in support of this rule amendment. The reason that amending the best value competitive sealed provisions for professional services is relevant to us. We're an IT company, so we do provide professional services. When we can see the evaluation factors visibly and we can modify our proposals to score the best points, like, then we're not just bidding blindly on these procurements, and it really helps us competitively and increasing that as well to 500,000. Of course, we're in support of that. So, yeah, I'm just adding my voice there, and I'd like to hear from everyone else too. So, thank you for having this and inviting us.
Thank you. Sanjay Ghosh, part case offer.
I have nothing to add to that, that's fine.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone else wish to testify on this specific rule change?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say these. Madre Patel for the Alliance.
Hi, my name is Mahendra Patel, and I'm president of Alliance of New York Asian Architects and Engineers. I'm testifying this for the members of Alliance of New York Asian Architects and Engineers. The Alliance to express our support for the proposed procurement rule changes relating to minority and women-owned businesses enterprise MWB program. The Alliance is composed of more than 50 Asian American-owned architecture and engineering firms, which collectively provide a full spectrum of engineering and architectural services and employ more than 1,000 employees across the state of New York. The Alliance has been active in supporting the efforts by the city and the state over the past few years to update and expand the MWB program, and we believe that the proposed changes would be beneficial to business participating in this program. By providing a 5% point preference to the construction-related consultant services provides, there would be a possibility of operating new opportunities to New York City businesses like ours that have faced a disadvantage in competing for this type of contracts. A 5% point reference also allows qualified MWB firms for the opportunity to compete as a prime contractors, which is the ultimate goal of this program. Since many firms haven't had the opportunity in the past and therefore may not be able to show an evidence of completed past projects, the 5% preference will provide the qualified firms with the prime opportunities and city agencies. We encourage the Procurement Policy Board to approve these proposed changes because we believe it will help the advance New York City MWB program and in the process advance the business that participate. The proposed changes would provide our firms with a new opportunity, and since we believe in hiring a diverse workforce, it will provide new opportunities to the many people who work with us so far. I would like to add, I'm also a member of ACEC, and as we see the testifying that 25% MWB program like participants has agreed, opposed on to the things as given the testimony by the ACEC. I haven't seen any survey or anything from the ACEC regarding these things, and I'm not sure that how that statement was given by for the ACEC. I would like to thank you to the opportunity for the considerations and hearing us. Thank you. Any questions?
No questions. If you could leave a copy on the table, it'd be appreciated. Anil Dayarmani of the Alliance.
You could testify something else.
My name is Anil Dayarmani. I'm a Vice President of Smart Tech Architecture and Engineering. I'm a licensed professional engineer, and my partner, Sejal Malhotra, is a licensed architect. We started this firm a few years ago. I'm testifying for the New York Alliance, same as Mahendra, but I would repeat the same thing because what I have to say is roughly the same. I think the important thing, we are in favor of it, and I can give you this much testimony as living proof. The DDC, New York City DDC, began a micro firm on-call recently, and so they give an opportunity to people of less than 5 employees to bid on this project. We were successful and we won that, and I've been working for ourselves since then. So as a prime consultant, we're making significant inroads. We have opportunities to work as a sub-consultant as well, but being a minority, women-owned business, the opportunity as a prime has been really the push, the shot in the arm that we needed to survive for these past 3 years. So these goals that we're setting, I can only tell you, if an MWBE gets an opportunity to be a prime consultant, and they get a preference to continue in that direction, it's a far better way to go than being a sub-consultant. If you're a sub-consultant, in some cases, I'm waiting for up to 8 months to get paid. Cash, and having cash and learning all these things about running a business, there are a lot of logistical things you have to deal with, in addition to running your own jobs or working on your own jobs. So this 5% that we're allocating, I think is a shot in the arm that affords opportunities that we would never be able to achieve previously, or have never been able to achieve previously. And cash is king in this business. We're not a high-profit, sexy .com industry. We're engineering. There's nothing, super cutting edge about it. We have innovations in design, stuff in things like that. But the thing here is that this really helps us propel ourselves into the next, to a level where we can compete. And I'm all in favor of it. Again, I've worked as a sub-consultant and a prime consultant. I can't tell you how much of a help it is to be a prime consultant and be able to provide these services. So I think that's about everything. I'm in favor of it. Any questions?
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak, provide testimony specifically on this rule? If you did not previously hand in a comment sheet, just bring it up and then approach the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Julie Harris, and I'm representing the Council of Black Architecture and Engineering Firms. And I want to stand solidly behind what the Alliance said, and I am testifying for this rule. One of the things that we tend to leave out when we look at the opportunity to prime is actually workforce development. We always talk about the workforce development as it relates to the trades and construction, but when you look at the professional workforce development, engineers want to engineer and architects want to architect, they want to design. And what subcontracting does to us, it puts us in a position to where we mostly get dot control and work that's really not related to engineering that we want to do. And being able to be a prime helps us with all of the qualifications that when you look at the RFPs, they want you to have so many years of leading projects and things like that, and those very technical experiences that we are not getting as subcontractors. And so that's why it's important that we get a chance to prime our work so that we can grow our engineers and architects in our communities that look like us. And right now we're having an exodus of minority and women engineers because one, they don't get to do the work they go to school to do. We do the same, we go to the same schools, we take the same courses, we get the same license and certifications, yet all of a sudden we're looked at as we don't have the capacity to do the work or the skills to do the work. And so this will give us the opportunity to do what we want to do, to engineer and to design and to do the higher level work that we are capable of doing. But as we are maligned to subcontracting positions, that doesn't happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jesus Linares. As and I went to Nazareth High School, so Jesus of Nazareth is speaking now. It's a joke. It's a joke I use all the time. Anyway, I'm the chairman of the National Hispanic Business Group. I also own a commercial moving company called Business Relocation Services. We've been doing the moving services contract for DCAS for the last 5 years. We came about this, we were the second lowest bidder at that time, and whoever won it was not capable, and they just rebid it again. And the issue that I'm going to put forth is that because they rebid it again and the decision hasn't been made, we couldn't get a purchase order for the move of the Department of Transportation, so they gave the contract to a move consultant, who gave the contract to a non-MWBE moving services contract. And when I reached out to the move consultant, who was a certified women-owned business, I didn't get a response. That's why I'm all for the increase for the 150 cap to the $500,000 cap. I don't know what transpired, I just figured that the National Hispanic Business Group is in favor of all the bullet points that have been put forth on the new thing. Thank you.
Does anyone else have testimony regarding the specific rule which will make amendments to competitive sealed proposals?
I don't know yet.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Seth Bryant. I'm managing partner of the law firm Bryant Rubino LLP. Bryant Rubino is a certified minority-owned business in New York City and in New York State. I am also a member of the Mayor's MWBE Advisory Council. I'm here in support of the amendment as it relates to best value procurements to cause them to be on par with the state. During my tenure as a lawyer over 23 years and with a specific focus on MWBE issues over the last 10 to 15 years, there have been situations or circumstances where MWBE businesses have had many changes to the laws that have been beneficial to them. One issue that has kind of hurt MWBEs is the disconnect between the city and the state in terms of how the MWBE programs work. And so on the state level, there is best value procurements. And on the city level, at some level, there has been there have not been the same best value procurements, and some procurements have been on a lowest cost basis. And so as the proposal is intended to streamline and kind of harmonize the state and the city's procurement measures, it benefits cities that are located in New York City, that are state certified and city certified, to have a common set of rules to aim at, as opposed to having different regimes for the state and the city. So I'm in favor of the proposal in terms of the best value change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nestor Navate from Base 1 Security. I'm an MBE certified business owner. I run a security company. The MBE program on the state side and the city side, being city certified is much easier than getting state certified, and less confusing and what have you. But I also was one of the original people that went up to Albany, trying to get the $150,000 discretionary fund increased about a couple of years ago. I understand that that passed, we're up to $150,000, but increasing it to $500,000 is a great thing for the city, and it will help small minority businesses to grow quicker. But the problem is you have other companies are bigger, like Allied Bar and Securitas, FJC, they have a massive contract with the city, and that lock us all out, all the MBEs, small security companies out, and they can still bid on that $500,000. My proposal is that if you're making more than $10 million a year, you should not be able or allowed to bid on anything under $500,000 whatsoever in any industry. Engineers, everyone. It locks us out by them allowing them to still bid. And that's my concern, and that's why I'm here. Even though I'm not an engineer or architect, we all have the same problems with bigger companies and being subcontractors to them what have, does not work. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify regarding the changes to 303?
Thank you. My name is Christopher Boyle, and I'm with the General Contractors Association of New York. And we represent the heavy civil construction industry in New York. We're the folks who build the roads, bridges, transit and rail systems, and the parks and the foundations. Our workforce is made up of about 25,000 represented workers in the city. And although folks don't focus on this, our members, who are large construction firms, all began as small, largely family-owned businesses themselves. And their business model is predicated on self-performing the work they do. They understand what it means to start small and to grow. That said, our members also understand the difficulties that small businesses today have in getting a foothold in the industry. And in that sense, they support the MW and DBE goals that we have talked about here earlier. But I will admit that hearing some of the other testimonies from folks, it is a confusing array of different requirements depending on city contracts, state-funded contracts, or federal contracts. And I don't think this particular rule helps clarify things, but changes the dynamic once again. Our biggest concern here is that the PPP rule places no limit on the size of the best value procurements for which a price preference or technical credit would apply. So what we have is, in the context of Law 15A, which increased the personal net worth threshold 400% to $15 million, and a business size limitation of up to 300 employees, a state-certified MWBE could be a relatively large company. In fact, they could be larger than probably many of the members that are members of the JCA. So with no dollar cap on the size of procurements, MWDBE firms that are now fully able to compete in the marketplace, and we're not talking about all the smaller firms that we talked about today, will be provided with what amounts to an unfair price preference or bidding advantage over significantly smaller but qualified competitors. This also gets a little bit more complicated when in our business you get into the world of design build, where technical evaluations are used to select the best technically qualified firms, to encourage technical innovation, to lower costs, and to improve schedules. So I think while the sheet says support or oppose, I think our preference would be to discuss with you before you would adopt such a final rule a way that achieves the goals that I've heard from other folks here today, but also ensures that there is an appropriate level of net worth for those folks who are actually bidding. And we look forward to working with you. I will leave our formal remarks for the
Does anyone else wish to testify on the rule changes?
Hello. Good morning. My name is Kiana Beckles. My company is Leverage Assessments. We design pre-employment selection testing tools, so we intersect in the construction community with background tests and drug screens, and we also have a partner firm that provides construction services. Any advantage that small firms can get, I'm also MWBE certified with the city. Of course, our state certification is pending, as is everyone else's. Any advantage that we can get to be prime competitors on these large contracts is going to help us. The whole idea of being a sub is just, you know, the large companies, they're not really looking for a call from you. You know what I mean? I called the guy the other day who, again, has that master services contract, And his reply was, "You're a competitor, I don't want to hear from you." I mean, the phone call was hostile. I was just asking for a meeting. And it turned into a hostile engagement. I think what a lot of the large firms do is, if there's an MWBE goal on it, they know that any government contract is going to have some amount of printing services. So they just find a print company and they sub that set aside portion and they're like, done. They're not looking for your expertise. They're not looking for your creativity. They're not looking for your experience. The other piece of that is that they're looking to give away as minimal work as possible. So to your point, you know, those large bids is the difference between competing for millions and billions of dollars and maybe getting a piece, which is like a couple grand. That's not really gonna help you grow. That's not really gonna help you scale and get to the next level where you can really start to compete with these guys. So we're just always kind of be in that loop where we always at the bottom, feeding from the bottom, basically. So.
Thank you. Sir?
My name is Ravi Shenoy. I'm president of Shenoy Engineering. Shenoy Engineering provides mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, design services, consulting services in New York City. We understand that MWB program helps disadvantaged firms as a whole to increase the ability to business within the New York City and the state marketplace. We have been active in supporting the efforts of the city and state over the last few years to address the MWB programs, and we believe the proposed changes will be greatly beneficial businesses participating in this program. So I've been in business since 2003, and the prior local laws had greatly impacted in the growth of our business. But in the recent amendment to the local law 1, along with this program, changes to the rule changes to the program, will greatly help us to do the growth and move forward. With the ability to compete with a prime consultant, MWB firms will able to gain contracting experiences to the previously we did not were able to get. We have tried in the past with several city agencies to work as a prime, but we hardly got any such opportunity, and we hope this program will greatly beneficial to that venture in our going into another prime. So we thank you for this opportunity, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify regarding this item?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Robert Scarlett. I'm the owner of Scarlett Consulting Engineering Commissioning, MBE certified with the city pretty quickly, state recertification pending. So the goal of the MBE program is, or any small business program, is to facilitate, foster the growth of businesses for small business people who are entrepreneurs. Main issues that I've had my company since 2015, and of course there's the growth curve. Okay, totally accept that. But the main thing I'm encountering is that the procurement comes out from any of the agencies. So now I think we're being run through DCAS. Procurement comes out, and how it's written It's almost as if it's literally excluding a small firm because it's telling you your experience. And you started your company based on the knowledge and experience that you garnered in your previous. So now you're starting from zero, because now the experience that they want is the experience of the firm and not of the individuals in the firm. So now you're starting, you have this, you have a strike against you. Then the next thing, the procurement person is saying, well, you know what, talk to the prime. The prime doesn't want to talk to no one. People only do business with people they know. And so what tends to happen is that people in the company spawn other companies, and then they deal with those companies. So people like us, no opportunity. So the goal is almost right off the bat, it's self-defeating. Question is, if you're going to do discretionary, you need to make it such that small, truly small businesses can compete. You can't be piggybacking, oh, talk to the prime, talk to that prime. No prime wants to talk to me. I've sent out a bazillion meet and greet. No one wants it. I've only been getting businesses from my people who I know. So if you're and then again, to even bolster a situation, if you look at your own controller's report, MBEs get what? 1% of, or less than 1% of the entire spending when New York City is a minority majority. This thing's upside down. So all I'm saying, if we're going to approach this, let's make sure that we are doing the intention. The intention is to facilitate and foster the growth of businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify regarding 3-03 changes?
Can I say one?
At the end.
I got this.
Okay. So for item number 4, which is today's final item, the PPB has proposed to amend Chapter 2 of Title 9 of the Rules of the City of New York to increase the maximum allowance for MWBE non-competitive small purchases up to $500,000 and allow it to be used for construction.